Wow, her night 2021. I didn't think we were going to make it through 2020, but we're here and it's awesome. Her night 2021. I think we all just need to take a deep breath for me and for you because I'm extremely nervous. So on the count of 3, forget everything that's at home, everything outside those doors. I'm going to forget that there's blinding lights on me right now, and we're going to do one deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, that made me feel better. I don't know about you. Well, again, I'm honored that Angie asked me to speak up here tonight. And like I said, you guys are witnessing a miracle because this is my worst fear right here, public speaking. And she's entrusted me with this stage. And I believe God's given me a word for tonight. And you can't disobey God. So here I am. And I'm going to give you guys a little story. My name is Alex. And for some of you that don't know me, I wanted to give a little montage of my life the last 5 years. So Tyler and I, who is the campus pastor here, met in 2nd grade. That's not us in 2nd grade. We're a little bit older there. We met in 2nd grade here at Cloverhill, and he knew he loved me when he saw my light-up Skechers and my purple velour dress. He just instantly fell in love with me. I don't know if that actually happened, but that's the story I'm telling myself. Fast forward 20 years later, we get married at 21 and 22. And then fast forward another 2 years, we buy a house. We do our own little rendition of Fixer Upper on our house. And then we're like, life isn't crazy enough. Let's bring a baby into the world. So we brought our firstborn, Marley Jade, into the world on May 17th, 2019. Wow, I really had to do the math on that. She's now a viral TikTok sensation, so if you recognize her anywhere, that is her. I'm the mother of the Yeet baby, shameless plug right there. There we go. And she brings light to our world, that's for sure. And again, we didn't think our life was crazy enough, so we welcomed our son, Jack. And he is 6 months old as of last week. He was born October 4th, 2020. So I kind of give you a snapshot of what my life looks like. Yes. There's a lot of concealer there. Don't be deceived. I'm very tired, very tired. So, like I said, that's kind of my life. But we have a little bit of a longer story with Jack, and I'll get more into that later. But first, I want us to open up to Psalm 91 on your Bible app or on your Bible. And this is kind of our key verses for tonight and for really the whole theme for this evening. And we're going to read verses 1 through 8. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. So like I said, I wanted to talk to you about our story, and Angie kind of alluded to this, but our journey with Jack has been kind of crazy. And I'm not going to cry, but I know I can because you're all women and you understand sometimes you just need to let it out. So at my 20-week anatomy ultrasound, I just gave you a snapshot of what my life had been like. I mean, that was picture perfect. I was hitting all the check boxes. I had found a godly Christian man. I had a baby girl, beautiful baby girl. We had a little house. We did a little Joanna Gaines to it. I had the works. And then our 20-week anatomy ultrasound happened with Jack. And I cry every time I say this because it feels like I have to relive this scenario all over again, but this is necessary. I keep telling myself. So like any other new mom, I was going in to find out the gender, and it was going to be a really exciting week. I was already Pinteresting, if it's a girl, I'm going to blow up pink balloons. If it's a boy, I'm going to do something else fun. So I was already kind of planning that, and I wasn't really going into it thinking, this could be kind of a terrible appointment. I wasn't thinking that at all. The ultrasound tech comes in, she does the ultrasound, and she seems like totally normal, totally calm. She's like, okay, the doctor's gonna meet with you after this, which again, totally normal. So I'm sitting in the doctor's office, and the doctor comes in, And she says, oh, I thought, your husband usually comes to these appointments. Where is he today? And I was like, oh, he stayed at home with our daughter. I hope that's okay. And she said, well, I'm really sorry, but I have some news to tell you. And I don't know if any of you have gotten broken up with or have had a very terrible conversation with your parents or something, and they say, we need to talk. That's exactly what this felt like. And so I wanted to paint that picture for you so you could really feel like what I was feeling. My chest was tightening up. She hasn't even told me anything yet. My chest is tightening up. My stomach hurts. I'm like, the room is literally spinning. And looking back, I probably had a full-on panic attack at that moment. But she explained that Jack had ventriculomegaly, which I probably am still pronouncing that incorrectly. So if you're a doctor, just trust me, I don't really care what the word is anymore. I didn't know what it meant. It was a very long word for something simple, which meant he had extra fluid on his brain ventricles on the side. And it wasn't draining like it should. And it was in the mild range, but enough to be concerned. So she says, I know you probably have a lot of questions right now, but I can't really answer any of them because this is kind of a specialty doctor's area. You're going to have to see a high-risk doctor for the rest of your appointments. And I think in that moment I was like, holy crap. And I'm allowed to say crap on the station? I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. There it is. There it is, God. I knew life was too good to be true. This is my moment. This is exactly where God's just going to try to trip me up. And instantly, my little planner mentality was like, that wasn't part of the plan to have a baby that needs a high-risk doctor. That wasn't part of the plan. That's what I was saying the whole time. I get in the car, and I call Tyler. Oh, I was so upset. I could imagine what he felt like on the other line just talking to me on the phone, but he's like, Alex, what's the matter? And I'm just sobbing. I don't even get any words out till I meet him at home. I explain it all to him, and instantly we go under the shadow of the wing of the enemy. And you'll see these wings everywhere here tonight, and we'll get more into the importance of that, but we instantly went under the wing of the enemy. We instantly felt confused, we doubted our faith, we clung to the worst possible outcome of whatever this was going to be instantly. We not for 1 second realized, we've been in ministry for a few years, and I married into a pastoring family. My father-in-law is Pastor Stan Grant, and I still doubted the fact that A, a miracle could happen, and B, that God was going to bring me through it. But God had given us a sound mind. We just didn't know it yet. So I've kind of explained to you what I felt like when I was under the wing of the enemy, and it took me a little while, but eventually there is hope. I swung to the wing of Jesus, but first I had to realize that I needed a sound mind. And tonight I gave you a snapshot of who I am, but I want to tell you about who God is and who he should be to you. And the first thing is that he's our sound mind. But we had just forgotten it. And honestly, some of you in here tonight, especially the moms that Angie was describing, you may be thinking, sound? I would like the sound off, please. I would like no noisy toys. I would like no music on. I would like it completely silent. And you may be thinking, I think about things all the time. I have 150 tabs open at all times. I tell my husband, sometimes he talks to me and I'm like, okay, which compartment do I need to answer? Like my brain is just about to explode. It means we have 1,000 opportunities a day to dwell our thoughts in either life or death. Our brains might as well have mouths because they sure do talk to us, and I know you guys know that. Yeah. But a sound mind can only happen if you remember what God has done for us. Proverbs 4:20-22 says, my son, and for her night purposes, my daughter, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them and health to one's whole body. I call my husband Tyler a hypochondriac all the time because if he gets a little in his throat, he's like, I'm dying. And so I kind of tease at him, and one day he's telling me that he has mosquito bites or something's itching, and I instantly am just starting to itch a little bit. And some of you guys tonight may have just itched when I just said that. And that right there is the power of your mind. You can have your thoughts, you can meditate your thoughts enough to change your reality. And maybe some of you tonight are thinking, okay, Alex, I get it that we need to have a sound mind, and I get that God has given us peace, but why am I not feeling it? And that was me. I knew the things of God. I have done my devotions. I've been a Christian. I don't even remember when I said yes to Jesus. That's how long it's been. And I knew all the words I should be saying, but I couldn't do anything. I couldn't formulate a conversation with anyone. But it's because you don't know that God is truly your authority. And authority can be kind of a scary word because it seems like it's just someone that you have to answer to or something. But really, authority is a gift, and it's a gift that's been given from God. God is our authority. And I was reminded of a story in the Bible when Jesus sent out the 70. And the 70 in this scenario are disciples. And this is a side note. He sends out 70 people, but he pairs them off 2 by 2. And this is a separate sermon in and of itself. We'll cover it at another night. But that's the importance that God had on relationships with other people. He knew that these people wouldn't be able to do it alone, so he paired them off 2 by 2. He gave them some final instructions before they left and went to their neighboring nations to preach the good word. He said, "Travel light. Don't bring any extra luggage. And oh, my child, be careful. You're like lambs in a wolf pack. Get to where you need to go right away and don't dilly-dally." That's my little version of it. I picture our moms in the morning when we were little, and they would send us off to school, and they'd be like, "Honey, did you remember your book? Did you brush your hair? Did you brush your teeth? Did you really brush your teeth?" I imagine God saying this to his disciples at this time, saying, "Okay, and don't dilly-dally on the way there. Just get where you need to go because we have a good word to tell these people." He says in Luke 10:8, "When you enter a town and are received, eat what they have set before you. Heal anyone who is sick and tell them God's kingdom is right on your doorstep. When you enter into town and say you're not received, go out in the street and say, the only thing we got from you is the dirt on our feet and we're giving it back. But do you have any idea that God's kingdom is right on your doorstep?" They got a good response from this. And the 70 came back and they were stunned at what happened. They couldn't believe that they had all of this authority. They couldn't believe that Jesus' power was living inside of them. And in Luke 10:17, they even say, "Master, even the demons dance to your tune." Jesus looked at them like, are you serious? Like, I'm Jesus, first of all. But I told you all of this. I told you that my presence was going to be with you this whole time. I know. I saw Satan fall. I saw a bolt of lightning out of the sky. Do you see what I have given you? Safe passage as you walk on snakes and scorpions and protection from every assault of the enemy. Nobody can put a hand on you. But all the same, and I could see him saying, like, don't let your head get too big. Listen up. All the same, the great triumph is not your authority over evil, but God's authority over you and my presence being with you. It's not what you do for God, but it's what God does for you. And that is why you guys should be celebrating. And I feel like that spoke directly to me because I think for so long I had this false authority. Like I had it under control. Like you saw how awesome that last 5 years was. And I didn't really have a lot of conflict happening. So I was like, I must be doing really great at life. But I actually wasn't. And I realized that I was having false confidence. One morning on the way to one of our high-risk doctor's appointments, I think it was one of the first ones because I would get so nervous that I couldn't work the day before because I was just pretty distraught over the fact that we were going to another doctor. But we were doing this devotion, and it said, and it's just the one line that jumped off to me. It said, "Which shadow will you choose to live under, my daughter? The shadow of the enemy or under the shadow of my wing, Jesus' wing?" I audibly heard God saying, "Alex, how much longer? How much longer are you going to act like you're okay? You're not okay. Stop saying you're fine. You need me. You know it. How much longer, Alex, are you going to try to do this life without me?" And then we go to this appointment, but for the first time, I finally felt like I could breathe. I could breathe a little bit. And I started singing songs before we go into these appointments. We'd be walking down the hallway, and in my head, I'd be singing Sunday school songs. And have you ever noticed when you're maybe I hate driving when it's raining. And so if I'm driving and it's raining, I'm like, Jesus loves me, this I know. Just get me home safely, for the Bible says so. I'm doing that, walking down the hallway. And I'm saying to myself, my God is so big, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. And I don't know if any of you guys know this song, but I did. And that's what I was singing the rest of the time. So we go into these appointments, and every single appointment, they would give us news, like new information. And so every time I felt like I had to go to a therapy session for 10 times. 10 appointments later, finally on the last one, they tell us, okay, Alex, you can go on your way. The next time, we won't see you again. You're going to deliver your baby, but just a reminder, we don't know what he's going to be like when he's going to be born. He may have some issues walking. He may have some issues learning his ABCs. He may have trouble eating on his own. He may have Down syndrome. The range was so wide, I had no idea what we were to expect. And some of it we weren't going to know until way down the road after he was born. So I knew that I was going to have to remember God had given me a sound mind and he had given me authority. So however long this journey was going to be, you better believe that I had to remember that over and over. He said, these people would say to me, Alex, we need you to meet with a neurosurgeon to see if Jack will need brain surgery after birth. In my head, I'm singing, my God is so big, so strong, and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. Alex, we don't know if you're going to need someone with you living in your home to take care of your child. My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. I am screaming it. I can't even listen to these words, even if they are true. I wasn't being naive. I just knew that I was going to let these thoughts flood my mind, and it was no longer going to be sound. I finally, and this is probably the 8th month, so I don't want you to make it seem like I had a devotion and then I was like instantly a better person. I'm not. It's still a journey every day, but I finally have confidence in who God is because I have it rooted in his authority and the sound mind that he's already given me. To give you a little illustration of what it's like to get out of the house with 2 kids under 2, I'm going to paint that for you. Jack is 6 months, so I put him in a stroller. Marley refuses to get in a stroller anymore because she's a big girl and she can do everything herself. And then Zoe, our golden retriever, she needs to go on a walk every day. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get out of the house with 2 kids. It's gonna be great. We're gonna get some fresh air. And Marley's like, Mommy, me do it. And I was like, what is she saying? And she's saying she wants to walk Zoe herself. Marley's probably like 35 pounds, and Zoe is definitely 80 pounds. And she did not pass puppy school, so she is running all over the place. She is not one of those dogs who just walk like this down the neighborhood. No, we're going like this the whole time. And so the picture I had in my head was Marley's going to grab this leash, and she's going to just send it into the unknown. Like, she's going to fall on her face. It's going to be terrible. But... and this is a terrible mom moment. Don't repeat what I'm doing. But I was so fed up with arguing with a 2-year-old. I was just like, fine, Marley, try it. See what happens. So I'm lightly holding the end of the leash. Marley's in front of me, and Zoe is right in the front. And so we're walking, and this is great. Marley's like, oh, yeah, I'm walking the dog, and I don't need my mom, but she doesn't know I'm actually holding it behind her the whole time. But all of a sudden, this other dog in the neighborhood comes running around the corner. And you can imagine, Zoe goes, rah, rah, rah. She's freaking out. So she bolts, and instantly Marley is doing this. Her little legs can't be but this high. She's walking on water at this point to keep up with Zoe. And eventually, I hate to say it, she face plants. And I just want to let you guys know she's fine. She didn't even have blood. She's totally fine. And so I go over to her and I say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Marley. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I kiss her boo-boos. And I say, see, Marley, that's why Mommy needs to help you, because you're going to fall. And she's like, me do it. I'm like, that wasn't the point. You were supposed to learn your lesson. So we get back up and we do it again. And here we go, we walk in, but I'm still holding lightly here. And I feel like that's a picture of what I was doing. I don't know if this is what you guys do. But here you are, coasting through life. You don't even look back for a second. You're like, I got this, God, stay over there. You keep saying that to yourself. You say, oh, I have faith in Jesus. He's my number one. I don't prioritize anything else. Jesus is my number one. But then you get one shove, one tug from this world. You get one diagnosis like I did. You get one spout of bad news. You get one bad relationship, and instantly you bite the dust. Your face hits the ground just like Marley's. And some of you guys may be saying, Jesus, how could you let this happen to me? That's what Marley looked at me like it was my fault. Like I told you what was going to happen. You may be saying, Jesus, and this is what I said when I got in the car after that first appointment. I said, how? Like, why me? I've been so good. Like, why me? And it turns out I didn't have confidence in who God was at all. And I still struggle with it. And some of you guys may be sitting there right now and you've fallen, like you're there, like the enemy is long gone. He already dragged you through the mud and you're still stuck there. But I'm here to remind you that Jesus is there and he's going to pick you up. But I just need you to remember, on the way back up, he's going to remind you, kind of like I did with Marley. He's going to remind you, now listen, we've done this once before. Alex, we've done this once before. Are you going to listen to me? Are you going to get the sound mind that I've given you? Are you going to accept the fact that you have authority? And are you going to accept my confidence? But can I tell you guys a secret? I still didn't do that. We kept getting put in these situations where we had to make decisions about Jack, and I still would kind of get flustered, and I still didn't have a sound mind all the time, but you better believe that I remembered that devotion from that morning, and it said, which shadow, Alex? How much longer? How much longer are you going to try to do this without me? The final weeks of pregnancy with Jack felt like a lifetime, and any of you that have been pregnant, you know it already kind of feels like a lifetime because you're super hot, you're swollen. I mean, I was 9 months pregnant in September in Virginia. The humidity level is like up here. I just felt like I was going to die, but it was so much worse than that because when he was born, I had no idea what we were going to expect, so I was even more anxious than my first pregnancy. There was potential for him to need a shunt put in the back of his brain at birth to drain the fluid on his brain. He could need to stay in the NICU to be monitored for a little bit longer. The possibilities are really kind of endless, and I really don't want to focus on that because we knew even if he was born healthy, some of these challenges we may not realize even down the road. But fast forward to October 4th, 2020, and our sweet baby boy was born, and he didn't need one single surgery. He didn't need one single ultrasound, and he was treated like a happy, healthy baby boy. And I still doubted. It doesn't stop there. I still doubted that it was God that did all of that it was God that actually made him healthy. And I don't want to give off the impression that since that day, it's been smooth sailing, and I definitely don't want to give off the impression that if you just pray a little bit harder, what you ask for will come true. I'm not saying that at all, because it's every single day that I have to remind myself of these things. Because just 2 weeks ago, or now it's 3 weeks ago, we had to go to a neurosurgeon. And anything with the word neuro in it, you instantly think like it's the worst thing ever. But we had to go to a neurosurgeon for Jack, because when he was born, he would go cross-eyed. And I mean, at first it was cute, a little newborn cross-eyed, but then it was still there, and he's 6 months old. And so instantly I was like, this has got to be because of the minor fluid that's still in his brain, so we got to see someone about this. And so we see the neurosurgeon. He has to get an MRI. He gets put under, and then a couple days later, we meet with this doctor, and he walks in, and he's like, y'all got nothing to worry about. And I'm like, I have everything to worry about. I don't know what you're saying. And he shows us the MRI, and this is the first time we actually had seen Jack's brain like on a big old TV in front of us. And he said, you see this little line right here? And he points to this line right in the middle of his brain. He goes, and that's where the fluid is draining out of. And you can see it's a little bit tinier than most babies, but he's functioning just fine. Like he's taking it with stride. He says these words, and I know this was Jesus talking through this doctor. I don't even know if he's saved, but he said, that's just the way God made him. You do need to be rest assured that this has nothing to do with his brain, and he's going to be happy and healthy the rest of his life. That's awesome. And see, I still struggle with praising for that. Can I tell you guys another secret? In that appointment, I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Like, no more brain stuff. Like, now we can just focus on his eyes and everything's gonna be okay. But I was like, okay, doctor, but there's still fluid there. So, like, at what point should I be concerned? And I said, he's 6 months old. And this is typically a milestone that happens is typically that he can roll over. Like, my first could roll over by then. Like, she was doing somersaults by then. And Jack really struggles with lifting his head up. And he goes, Alex, it's going to be fine. I just need you to give him a little bit more time. All babies develop in their own time. And I'm like, if someone tells me again to wait a little bit longer, I'm going to die. And I audibly heard God say, do you not remember that I gave you a sound mind? Do you still not remember that? Did you see what I brought you through the first time? You're still here. And can I just tell you guys, the next day after that appointment, when I was asking the doctor, oh, but he's still not rolling over, the next day, Jack rolls over. He does not just do a little shimmy. He like somersaults down the carpet, rolling and rolling and rolling. And I heard him say, see, Alex, did I not stinking tell you that my presence was with you this whole time, but you need to trust me. And he says, I know, Alex, like the 70 disciples. I know, Alex, I saw Satan himself get struck down from heaven. You have that same power. You say, get behind me, Satan. Get out of my mind. Get out of my family, because I'm authority over this house. God is behind me, and his presence is over me. And I didn't think I was doing anything wrong those 5 years. I don't want you guys to think that now my life is terrible. No, it's that I realized that my confidence wasn't in who God was. It was my own confidence, which we all know we're weak human beings. We can't handle that kind of stuff on our own and without Jesus. And it was just one tug from the enemy that caused me to break, fall on my face, and expose my false confidence in Jesus. It had me realize that I wasn't rooted in who God was. I was rooted in the lies of the enemy. And some of you may be sitting here tonight thinking, wow, I know for a fact I've been living under the shadow of the enemy. Or some of you may be like me and you're like, my life's fine. Like, I don't need probably any assistance. And I'm not telling you this to scare you, but trials are gonna happen. Like, it's inevitable. Like me, I'm thinking I'm coasting, I'm flying, and I understand there's way worse situations in this world than what happened with my son. I totally understand that, but I'm just saying you better check yourself. Like, do it right now. Check yourself. Where is your confidence actually coming from? You guys all got a card on your seat on the way in. And I want you to think of an emotion that you feel while you're under the enemy. And the band can come back to the stage so I don't sound so awkward right now. I want you to think of an emotion that you feel while you're under the weight of the enemy. And some of you may be in an actual circumstance right now, and some of you may need to think back to the last time you had something like catastrophic happen, or maybe you're just consistently a negative person. Just think of an emotion. It's fine. I get like that too. Just think of an emotion that you feel when you're under the wing of the enemy. And I want you to write it down on your card. And we're going to give you some other instructions for that, but I want you to just really think, and I want you to listen to this illustration that's going to happen when all of these girls come on this stage. And until then, I'm just going to talk up here till they all come on the stage. And maybe I'll start singing, my God is so big, so strong, and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. Take a moment and listen to this.
I struggle with even the simplest decisions. My day is filled with what seems like the most mundane of tasks, yet I find myself in a whirlwind of confusion and self-doubt. I begin to wonder if anything I do or try even really matters. In front of others, I appear calm and happy, but inside I'm spiraling downward. My mind has a thousand different things going on. I try to begin my day in prayer and ask God to help me stay focused on the present moment. But my anxiety and worry about the future ultimately takes over, and my thoughts stay out of control.
You see, I feel so incredibly insignificant, so small. What value do I have? I always have this impression that I'm inferior. I'm not qualified enough. I'm not smart enough, to the point where I start asking myself these questions. Why doesn't my life look like hers? Why doesn't my life look like theirs? My attempts at feeling worthy are completely useless because, you see, I'm a failure. Hey, I have the track record to prove it. I have a hard time. I have a hard time of even seeing things through, to the point where I no longer even try. My prayers are more like empty, shallow breaths. Will I ever find my place?
I feel unwanted and unknown, sometimes invisible. I often find myself seeking value in relationships with others. I have this incredible need to be cherished and cared for. I have prayed and tried so hard to not find my worth in other people, struggling daily with feeling secure in who God made me to be. This kind of thinking leads me to struggle in relationships with family, friends, and even a desire to seek hard after finding the one so that I'm not alone.
My doubts about my abilities are constantly in my mind. I feel so inadequate. I worry that people will find out that I'm not smart enough or competent in what I do. It scares me not to be accepted. What if I'm not enough? What if I can't handle it? What if I fail?
I feel so alone. I've always been on the outside looking in, but never able to relate to the women who are on the inside. But why am I so different? Why is it so hard for me to find true friends? It seems like every time I get close to someone, I open up and I get burned. I guess I'll just have to live a life to myself in solitude, because I'd rather be alone than keep getting broken by people I thought I could trust.
I feel trapped. My past has a hold of me, and I feel like I have no hope of recovery. I have prayed. I have laid at his feet over and over. It feels like there is no end in sight. I have become my own worst enemy on most days. I'm unable to breathe, unable to move forward. My family suffers because of the battle that rages in my own heart and in my own mind. I'm afraid it will never be different. I have decided that my past will haunt me forever, something that I'll have to live with forever.
I feel unattached, aimless, worried, and searching. I have fasted and prayed with a glimpse of direction, and then I'm wandering again. I don't want to get too close to people and pull them into this mess. And so I put on a strong facade and hoping to say the right things, but no one knows how I feel. Will this be my entire life? Will I feel like I never fit in?
I see every day as a new beginning. I have accepted and believed that God is always with me and that He has a specific plan for my life. Staying in close contact with Him allows me to walk in faith, knowing He has my best interests at heart. When my thoughts begin to spiral, I know I must stop, take a deep breath, and surrender my worries. Living with a mind focused on gratefulness allows me to prioritize and live fully in each day.
I can do all things through Him who gives me strength. He made me for a purpose,
and He is faithful to finish the good work He has started in me. Hallelujah. No longer do I compare myself to others, but I cheer them on as fellow champions. You see, the devil, he tries to tell me, give up. You're gonna fail. But do I believe him? No, ladies, no, I don't believe him anymore, because now I can laugh. I can laugh because I know He that is in me is stronger than he that is in the world. God did not give me a spirit of fear. He did not give you a spirit of fear. He gave us a spirit of power, of love, of that sound mind that Alex was talking about. You see, ladies, I might not get it perfect all the time, but guess what? I don't have to, because He is sufficient. He is enough for us. You know, I am made for such a time as this. So are you.
I am confident in who I am and whose I am in Christ. I find my security in Him. I am fearfully and wonderfully made and a chosen child of God and deeply known by Him. My relationships flourish because I know my value and security is found through Christ and not in how others view me or value me.
God made me just the way that I am. God has an amazing plan to prosper me and not to harm me. He is my hope, and my future is secure in Him. My competence comes from God, and He never leaves me or forsakes me. He upholds me with His righteous hand, and He gives me strength and wisdom in every situation. I am the daughter of the Most High King, and He says that I am enough.
I have finally found a place of belonging, and stepping out was so worth it. Being a part of a body of like-minded people with the same beliefs as me has been more than I could have ever imagined. The enemy keeps reminding me of the moments I couldn't trust and I want to retreat, but God's word says that we are better together than we are alone. With God and community, life is so much brighter. Being able to trust Him to bring people into my life that I can be vulnerable with is hard, but I'm seeing the fruit of true, authentic friendships, and I'm believing for greater relationships to come.
My past is gone. I've been set free. Healing is quite the process, but it's one I've chosen to step into. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I feel lighter. I am more than a conqueror, and I daily take my thoughts captive. I know that God has a plan for my life. I'm trusting Him to bring me through every season of pain, every season where the enemy wants to remind me of my past. I trust Him now because I walk closely and listen to His still small voice that speaks words of life into my soul.
I have surrendered